Yeah, here in France, the death of a modeling agency scout whose name emerged back in February with the U.S. Justice Department's Epstein file releases. An autopsy underway for 69-year-old Daniel Siad, found dead in his home in the Paris suburbs. Prosecutors now looking into alleged rape and sex trafficking complaints. They had yet to question him. Emerald Maxwell has more.
His name appears more than 3,000 times in the declassified Epstein files. Accused of recruiting young women for the disgraced financier, Daniel Siad, in a 2014 email to Epstein, likened his work to fishing. Daniel Siad was being investigated in France for human trafficking and rape, launched after 5 complaints were filed against him. But he was found dead in a suburb of Paris before he was brought before a court. Among his accusers, former model Ebba Carlsson, the Swede, now in her 50s, spoke to France 24 earlier this year. She accuses Siad of raping her when she was 20, outside of the statute of limitations, but she was working with a lawyer in France to build a case against him.
We've been fighting for 6 years, trying to find more victims, to help more people, and just create more awareness about this, what I think is a global pedophilia elite group that's been active all over the world. It was shocking that the legal system in France didn't do more. I thought we felt very betrayed.
In a post on X last February, Siad refuted all the allegations against him.
I was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein, and he seemed to be someone very professional. Over the years, we discovered the man committed many atrocities, such as paedophilia. Thankfully, I never in my life introduced him to any models, underage or of legal age, who were ever abused. So I have nothing to feel guilty about.
Siad was one of several French men accused of procuring women for Epstein, and the second man who has died after being publicly linked to him. French authorities arrested modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel in 2020 after allegations against him. He was found hanged in his prison cell while awaiting trial.
And for more, let's cross to journalist Dana Thomas, the author of, among other books, Deluxe, How Luxury Lost Its Luster. Thank you for speaking with us here on France 24.
My pleasure to be here.
We've heard reactions from victims after the death of Daniel Siad, and the thing that comes up kind of with, same as with Jeffrey Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel, that agent to the stars, if you will, is that they'll never able to have their day in court with him.
It's just outrageous how long this is taking to happen and why these investigations are going on for so long. I was a model in the early 1980s in Paris. I knew Jean-Luc Brunel. I knew to stay away from Jean-Luc Brunel. My agent was already bad news, and he's long been dead from cancer. But I also worked for John Casablancas. We all know that Gérald at Elite was, they were all predators. We all knew this, and either you got predatored upon, you were prey, and you got caught in it, or you really took care of yourself. And that's 40 years ago. How can the French police not have already sorted this out by now? And how can these people just keep dying mysteriously, either suicide or just found dead, without any justice? It's been 40 years. It is absolutely outrageous that the French legal system has not done something about this by now.
Now, in the case of Daniel Siad, the autopsy is ongoing. It could be natural causes. He was found dead at his home.
It could be.
At the same time, he comes to light with that big dump of Epstein file emails and photos in February that some of his alleged victims spotted him just then. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's crazy that this came about in February and that nobody's managed to go and do the proper interviews with him and get the true story. And I mean, that poor model that you interviewed yourselves, and she's been trying to build a case against him for 6 years. This is crazy. And they're always saying that the statute of limitations is running out. Well, now we see why the statute of limitations runs out. It's because the French legal system is so slow to take sex crimes seriously.
There was a case just recently of a that shocked the whole nation with a girl who was killed by an alleged pedophile. There had been complaints against him. He'd never been questioned by police. Do you feel as though there's a turning point in all this now? We seem to have lost the connection there with Dana Thomas, unfortunately, journalist Dana Thomas, who is back with us now. Dana, do you feel as though there's a turning point now? There's been a lot of outrage over several high-profile cases when it comes to quickening procedures, particularly when it comes to listening to women's stories.
I don't think so. I mean, look, here's another guy who's dead and nothing happened. So you would have thought after Jean-Luc Brunel's suicide that the French government and the French law enforcement would have sped things up. They would have taken things more seriously because he was the right hand of Epstein. He was the procureur who, I mean, he'd been doing this. He did it with his former associate when I was a model in Paris. Later was working with Harvey. I mean, this is how a whole level. I mean, when she said there's an elite pedophile gang, it's not just pedophiles, it's just a trafficking, women being trafficked to these men. And it's been going on since I was 18, and I am a long way from 18 now. And before that even. And so it's, you know, when Jean-Luc Brunel, who was known in the 80s to already be doing this, commits suicide a few years ago, and he was the right hand of Epstein, and it's like clear as day, and the French still didn't speed up the cases and really start digging into this and do more about the Epstein charges in France. I mean, we know about them, and his butler has come out and said, I saw all these different men there and I knew what was happening and I didn't know what to do. Why is this taking so long?
Again, there's that question, Dana, about what it is that the role of models play in this whole universe. It's a system of currying favor. How does it work? And were you aware of it back then, that you were being commoditized, if you will?
Absolutely. I mean, the way it works is that you're at a nightclub and then Jean-Luc Brunel would come over and say, don't you want to meet my friend? And then you're seated down with the friend and then they give you a drink, and sometimes they drug the drink, or sometimes you're at a party and they drug you in the party, and then your next thing you know, you wake up and you don't have your clothes on. I knew girls in Milan, because this happened in Milan too, and nobody talks about that. And they would go to what they thought was a nice country weekend at a beautiful palazzo in the countryside, and they would come back completely broken on Sunday night or Monday morning, and they'd show up in the photo studio, and they were unable to function because they had been drugged and raped all weekend. And so I personally never accepted any of those invitations because I kept seeing these girls coming back broken. But we knew about this, and this was 1982 and 1983. So I mean, this is how it works, and it's worked like this for years. The crazy thing was that Gerald was the head of Elite, and he was married to Linda Evangelista, and he was still doing this. And you know, John Casablancas was the head of Elite in New York. He's the one who scouted me and sent me to Paris originally, and he was known as this. And I think his last wife was a teenager. You know, like this was it's out there. You do not have to look deep to know that there was a whole world where they were luring women in, saying, we promise you'll get a contract with L'Oreal, you'll be in Elle magazine. And some of us were, and some of them were just prey for the playboys.
Dana Thomas, so many thanks for speaking with us here on France 24.